The calm before the storm is over. Landman's Season 2 finale is just around the corner, and if you thought things were intense before, buckle up. Episode 10 promises to shatter every expectation, turning every alliance, every plan, and every trust upside down. The pressure is mounting, the stakes are sky high, and the fallout could change everything. Who will survive the chaos, and who will be left to pick up the pieces? Let's dive deep into what lies ahead. The tension that has been simmering throughout this season now feels ready to boil over. Tommy's sudden firing has set off a chain reaction that no one saw coming, but everyone feared. After a season spent balancing on the knife's edge between risk and reward, the fallout is not just professional, it's personal, deeply personal. Tommy's career, once a steady pillar holding the family's fragile world together, now threatens to crumble beneath him. But this isn't just about a lost job. It's about everything that depended on that job: security, trust, love, and the illusion of control. Angela and Ansley's lifestyle, once comfortably supported by Tommy's MTech income, faces an uncertain future. Their ability to keep up appearances is suddenly in jeopardy, and the cracks are beginning to show. Angela's fierce love for money clashes with her genuine love for Tommy, creating a volatile mix that might explode in ways none of them can predict. On the other side, Cooper's new role as the operations leader is far from a victory lap. Yes, he's seized control, but with power comes a weight heavier than any title. His decision to protect Ariana with brutal force is a stark reminder that leadership is more than just making calls. It's about facing consequences, some of which might cost him everything. The question looming over him now isn't just about whether he did the right thing, but whether he crossed a line that will haunt him forever. Meanwhile, Cammy's relentless hunger for risk pushes her further away from caution, driving a wedge between her and Tommy that finally snaps. Her firing of Tommy wasn't just a business move. It was a statement, a declaration that fear and caution have no place in her vision. But this choice might be the very thing that sets off a chain of events spiraling out of control. And as offshore drilling finally shifts from theory to action, the promise of success is overshadowed by the ever-present threat of disaster. The ocean, vast and unpredictable, becomes the perfect backdrop for tension that is as deep and dark as the waters themselves. Dan's shadow looms larger, his obsession with the oil business a ticking bomb waiting to explode. If his darker instincts break free when everything starts to unravel, it could spell doom not just for the project, but for everyone involved. Meanwhile, the disconnect between Angela and Ansley's storyline and the main narrative feels more pronounced than ever, highlighting a separation that might only widen as the season reaches its climax. And then there's the quiet moments, the soft exchanges between TL and Cheyenne, which offer brief respite but also deepen the mystery surrounding their relationship. These scenes, tender and oddly comforting, contrast sharply with the chaos engulfing the rest of the story, reminding us that beneath the surface, there are lives and dreams that might be shattered or saved in the blink of an eye. As the episode edges closer to the finale, every decision feels heavier, every character's fate more uncertain. The question that hangs in the air is simple but terrifying. Who will come out standing, and who will fall into the abyss? The pressure on Cooper is relentless, and the choices he makes now will define not just his future, but the futures of everyone around him. Stepping into the role of leader has thrust him into a world where every move is scrutinized, every decision could spark disaster. His protective instinct toward Ariana may have saved her from immediate harm, but it also drags him into a dangerous legal and moral gray area. Violence, even when justified, carries consequences that rarely disappear without a cost. The sirens that closed the episode weren't just the sound of approaching police, they were the ominous warning bells for Cooper's future. What once seemed like a bright path lined with promise now twists into uncertainty, with the threat of criminal charges hanging over him like a dark cloud. Meanwhile, Tommy's firing sends shockwaves that ripple through the entire MTech operation. Cammy's cold, calculated move to remove him was a turning point, one that exposes the fractures beneath the surface of the company's polished exterior. The offshore drilling project, once a beacon of ambition and progress, now feels like a gamble teetering on the edge of disaster. Cammy's appetite for risk fuels the operation, but it also blinds her to the warnings that Tommy and others have sounded all season. When ambition blinds caution, the fallout can be catastrophic. Angela and Ainsley's insulated world, built on Tommy's income and Angela's relentless drive to protect her family, faces a reckoning. Their use of MTech money to maintain comfort and control was never sustainable, and the loss of that financial support threatens to bring their carefully constructed lives crashing down. Angela's fierce love for control and money clashes with the reality of their situation, and the inevitable confrontation will force her to reevaluate everything she thought she could hold on to. At the same time, Ainsley's struggles at cheerleading camp offer a poignant contrast. Her attempt to find a place where she belongs is fraught with conflict and emotional turmoil, amplified by the clash with her new roommate, Pagan. This tension isn't just about personality differences, it reflects the broader theme of isolation and the desperate need for acceptance that runs through the entire series. Angela's quick fix to move the entire cheer squad to a new apartment, while protective, raises questions about avoiding problems rather than facing them. The show's choice to keep this storyline somewhat disconnected from the main plot feels like a missed opportunity, but it also highlights the fragmented nature of the characters' lives. Beneath the surface of business deals and power plays, there are deeply personal struggles unfolding that shape every choice and consequence. TL and Cheyenne's hydrotherapy sessions remain a rare moment of calm, a breath of humanity amid the chaos. Their quiet conversations about dreams and identity add layers of complexity to a story otherwise dominated by tension and conflict. It's these small, intimate moments that remind us why we care about these characters. They are more than their business titles and mistakes. As episode 10 looms, the sense of impending doom grows stronger. The offshore project's success is far from guaranteed, and the personal battles raging behind closed doors threaten to spill into the open. Loyalties will be tested, alliances will crumble, and the cost of ambition will be paid in full. The finale promises not just answers, but consequences, raw, real, and unforgettable. With Tommy out of the picture, the power dynamics at Amtech are shifting rapidly, and Cammy's dominance feels less like a victory and more like a ticking time bomb. Her relentless push for the offshore drilling project is fueled by adrenaline and ambition, but it also reveals a dangerous blind spot, one where caution and experience are dismissed as weaknesses. The project's complexity and risks have never been clearer, yet the drive to succeed at any cost pushes everyone closer to the edge. The potential for disaster is no longer just a shadow lurking in the background. It's a real, looming threat that could unravel everything in an instant. Cooper's position becomes even more precarious as Cammy begins to see him less as an ally and more as a threat. His aggressive protection of Ariana, coupled with his growing influence over the operation, puts him directly in her crosshairs. If Cooper loses his job on top of the legal trouble brewing, his carefully laid plans for a stable future with Ariana and Miguel could collapse completely. This precarious balance of power highlights one of the season's key themes: how quickly fortune can shift, and how fragile even the strongest bonds can be under pressure. Meanwhile, Ariana's job at the Patch Cafe is caught in its own storm. The incident with the racist customer wasn't just a moment of danger, it's a spark that could ignite controversy, threatening her livelihood and forcing her to confront the realities of working in a world that often refuses to change. The threat to Ariana's safety and job adds another layer of urgency and tension, weaving personal stakes tightly into the broader narrative of power, risk, and survival. Back on the drilling platform, the sense of unease grows. The equipment launch, celebrated with champagne and cheers, masks the uncertainty lurking beneath. For Cammy, the rush of risk is intoxicating, but for others, it's a reminder of how easily things can go wrong when the sea refuses to cooperate. The ocean is unpredictable, unforgiving, and in this business, one wrong move can mean disaster. As the offshore project pushes forward, the show hints at the possibility of things falling apart, whether through technical failure, human error, or the unraveling of fragile alliances. And then there's Dan, a looming figure whose obsession with breaking into the oil business feels like a dark thread running through the story. His motivations remain mysterious but ominous, and his actions could tip the scales when the pressure finally becomes unbearable. His darker side may emerge just when everyone least expects it, threatening to bring down not just the project, but the fragile balance that holds the characters' lives together. As the episode progresses, these intersecting tensions create a web of suspense that pulls the audience deeper into the unfolding drama. Every decision feels weighty, every confrontation charged with unspoken fears and ambitions. The stakes are no longer just about business success, they're about survival, identity, and what happens when people are pushed to their limits. The season finale looms large, promising a collision of personal and professional worlds that will leave no one untouched. With so much hanging in the balance, episode 10 isn't just a preview of what's next, it's a warning of how far this story will go and how much it will cost. As the season hurtles toward its explosive finale, every character is forced to confront the consequences of their choices, and the cracks in their carefully constructed lives widen into chasms. Tommy's firing marks not just the end of a career, but the collapse of the foundation that kept his family's world stable. Angela's loyalty to money over love threatens to pull them apart completely, raising the haunting question, how much can love survive when it's weighed against greed and power? Cooper's violent defense of Ariana has thrown him into a storm of legal and moral uncertainty, turning the promising future he once had into a battle for redemption and survival. His role as the new leader is less a triumph and more a test of how far he can go before losing everything. Meanwhile, Cammy's unyielding thirst for risk drives the offshore drilling project forward at breakneck speed, but her disregard for caution may be the catalyst for disaster. The ocean's vast, unpredictable power mirrors the fragile state of the operation, where one wrong decision could lead to catastrophic consequences. Dan's shadow lingers like a storm cloud on the horizon, his obsession with breaking into the oil business a wild card that could tip the fragile balance into chaos. His darker side, hinted at throughout the season, feels ready to emerge at the worst possible moment, threatening to shatter the already fragile alliances holding this story together. Ariana's struggle at the Patch Cafe adds yet another layer of tension, her safety and livelihood caught in the crossfire of personal and societal conflict, reminding us that no one in this world is immune to the consequences of the larger storms brewing around them. Even the quieter moments, like the hydrotherapy sessions between TL and Cheyenne, take on new meaning as the season reaches its climax. These tender exchanges offer a brief sanctuary, a glimpse of humanity and hope amid the chaos, but they also underscore the vulnerability of every character as the pressure mounts. As episode 10 unfolds, expect everything to accelerate: the tension, the drama, the stakes. The season finale promises not just answers, but reckoning, where alliances will be tested, secrets will be exposed, and the true cost of ambition will be revealed. No one will emerge unscathed, and the fallout will set the stage for what's to come. Landman's Season 2 finale is more than just a conclusion. It's a turning point, a moment where everything changes and nothing will ever be the same. Stay tuned, because what happens next will leave you breathless. The calm before the storm is over. Landman's Season 2 finale is just around the corner, and if you thought things were intense before, buckle up. Episode 10 promises to shatter every expectation, turning every alliance, every plan, and every trust upside down. The pressure is mounting, the stakes are sky high, and the fallout could change everything. Who will survive the chaos, and who will be left to pick up the pieces? Let's dive deep into what lies ahead. The tension that has been simmering throughout this season now feels ready to boil over. Tommy's sudden firing has set off a chain reaction that no one saw coming, but everyone feared. After a season spent balancing on the knife's edge between risk and reward, the fallout is not just professional, it's personal, deeply personal. Tommy's career, once a steady pillar holding the family's fragile world together, now threatens to crumble beneath him. But this isn't just about a lost job. It's about everything that depended on that job: security, trust, love, and the illusion of control. Angela and Ansley's lifestyle, once comfortably supported by Tommy's MTech income, faces an uncertain future. Their ability to keep up appearances is suddenly in jeopardy, and the cracks are beginning to show. Angela's fierce love for money clashes with her genuine love for Tommy, creating a volatile mix that might explode in ways none of them can predict. On the other side, Cooper's new role as the operations leader is far from a victory lap. Yes, he's seized control, but with power comes a weight heavier than any title. His decision to protect Ariana with brutal force is a stark reminder that leadership is more than just making calls. It's about facing consequences, some of which might cost him everything. The question